And showtime! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the ChannelPro 5-Minute Roundup. A look at news, trends, and tips for the SMB channel in 5 minutes or thereabouts. My name is Rich Freeman. I am executive editor of the ChannelPro Network, also a co-host of this program. I am joined this week, as I am every week, by your other co-host, Eric Simpson, a business transformation and IT improvement advisor, or excuse me, improvement advisor to MSPs and other IT providers, is what I was trying to say. Eric, as I untie my tongue, how are you doing?
Well, you're making my title much greater and larger than I ever expected. Thanks, Rich. I'm doing great this week. I'm coming off a busy week and excited for today's uh, tip announcement, our top story and tip of the week.
Well, what the heck? Let's just dive right in. What do you say?
Let's dive right in.
Um, because off the air before we started recording, we were both kind of musing about the fact that our top story this week is something that we got kind of close to in a very recent episode of the 5-Minute Roundup. We were talking just a few weeks ago at the beginning of March about Kaseya acquiring Rocket Cyber, and we were talking about all of the security-related acquisitions Kaseya has made in recent years, SolarWinds, MSP, ConnectWise. Of the big four names in managed services software and solutions, three of those four were heavily invested in acquisitions in the security space. Datto really hadn't done that to that point, and we were kind of musing on that a little bit. It was definitely, as we said at the time, kind of a contrarian strategy on their point, to delay that, if you will. Well, they're not delaying it anymore. This week's big news is that Datto has in fact made a security related acquisition. They announced yesterday, as we record this, that they have acquired a company called Bitdam. Bitdam is an Israeli-based security vendor. They do threat detection. We don't know a whole lot about the solution. It is designed to defend cloud-based collaboration applications, Microsoft 365, Google Workspace, systems like that, from ransomware, malware, phishing attacks. We know that it doesn't rely on a blacklist, on signatures. It can do 0 days that haven't been detected out in the wild before. I will say, I spoke just a couple of hours ago with an MSP slash Datto partner who has actually used the Bitdam solution a little bit. And so he did give me a little bit of an inside look at what's distinctive and unique about this system. And he said, it's multi-tenant, so it's ready to go from an MSP perspective that way. It's kind of a set it and forget it sort of system, apparently. Once you've got it running, it'll send you alerts, but you don't really have to worry about it a lot, which from an overhead perspective is appealing to an MSP. And I mentioned Microsoft 365 and Google Workspace before, but there are obviously plenty of other email security systems out there. But end users these days are using Zoom and Teams and unified communication systems. There are a lot of different ways, other ways that SMBs are communicating today, and you've got to watch out for the same kinds of threats in those environments as well. And apparently the Bitdam solution is very good at looking at all of those different kinds of environments and pulling that all together for you. That's about as much as I know about the product right now, but what we do know is that, as we hinted at before, after in a pre-considered, in a deliberate kind of way, Datto has been waiting to get into the security market. And every time I've spoken to their senior executives about this over the course of the last year and a half ago, they have said, we're waiting to be convinced that there is a market for our MSP partners in SMB security. We want to know before we get in that there's going to be something that they can sell that will actually make them money and by extension us money. And then the other thing that their executives have said pretty consistently is we're not going to do this until we find something that's new and unique and compelling. We're not just going to be an also-ran in the security space. And apparently they really feel like they have found that now in this Bitdam product. And so the next big thing, Eric, is just waiting to learn more about the product and then see what they do with it next, how they integrate it with the rest of the platform, maybe extend it. They would not have made this acquisition, I'm convinced, if they didn't feel there was something really kind of special about this technology they've purchased. Let's see what that turns out to be.
Yeah, and I do remember, some of the comments from Datto about, we're not yet convinced that MSPs will make investments in security and things like that. And I think that's probably the third kind of influence in this decision as they see, their competitors adding more and more of these security services and more MSPs subscribing to them and reselling them to their clients. So, yeah, it's good to wait and see. I think Datto, finally got to the point where they said, okay, now is the time. And I am curious to find out what that special, unique, 11th herb and spice might be for Bit Titan, because that was, very clear from them, is like, look, we're not just going to, invest in something just because everybody else is. It's got to, provide us some kind of a unique, uh, you know, um, benefit that our MSPs would appreciate. So looking forward to learning more as this story develops.
And as we're speaking, Datto's latest quarterly financial briefing for investors is taking place right now. I assume they will have something to say about security and what role it plays in their future. And so we'll probably learn a little bit more today, but I think we'll have to wait a little bit longer before we get the answer to that question that you were asking there before. I'm going to guess. I don't know this for a fact, Eric, but I'm going to guess that it's, or at least it's quite possible that when Datto approached Bitdam about an acquisition, it may have been an unsolicited offer. It may have come out of the blue for the Bitdam folks. Well, gosh darn it, that has something to do with your tip of the week.
Absolutely, Rich. And it's a concept that I haven't seen a lot of MSPs put into place in their business strategy. And the idea and the strategy here is to submit unsolicited quotes or unsolicited proposals to existing clients and prospects as well. I worked very closely several years ago with a large MSP who really leveraged this tactic on almost a monthly basis. They would promote special deals and discounts for hardware and things like that to their entire contact list, and were able to generate quite an amazing amount of revenue and also uncover additional opportunities with new prospects that were in need of a laptop for a new user, and it just happened to hit just at the right time. And so I'm talking about just implementing a strategy, not simply to sell hardware per se, but to, if you understand your client's infrastructure and the next step of what you would propose to them in a QBR, let's say, you can, set that proposal up with pricing and everything and just send it to them and ask them for a meeting to discuss it without having any other, discussion or anything like that about it. And if you do that on a quarterly basis with all of the clients that you think could use, help spending their budget to improve their security posture or to um, increase some productivity challenge that they're having with their line of business application, or staff efficiency, things like that. I think this is a really effective strategy. I know that if you don't do it, you certainly won't receive any value from it. But if you do, you'll probably scare up enough business to prove that it's a valid strategy. And then you can figure out, a reasonable cadence of this type of activity for maybe even select members of your client list. Maybe you send those out a little bit more to your A clients and maybe a little bit less to your C customers over time, and figure out how all that should work.
It's interesting, Art, because you can imagine an MSP or another IT provider in the audience thinking, if I send a full blown proposal out to my customer with a price tag on it, that could scare them away before we've had the strategic conversation about why they would want this. But I can easily imagine it working the other way around, where the possibility of their investing in this solution or that technology is maybe too vague until they get the proposal in front of them, and it becomes very specific and concrete, and they can see that it's not going to cost them two arms and a leg. I mean, it might actually make it easier for them to take the next step and set up some time to talk about it with you.
Well, one thing for sure, Rich, it will force a conversation in the absence of one, if you don't send something out like that. So I say, look, try everything and figure out what sticks. I mean, we're in the business of being creative and innovative and trying to distinguish and differentiate ourselves from our competitors and add more value to our clients. If our clients, feel like, oh, they're, my trusted advisor, my business partner is looking out for me and making me aware of, maybe some discounts or some opportunity here if I, take action now and maybe we can defray these costs over some period of time. That's keeping me informed, and it's not a hard sell, right? We're just saying, hey, I was thinking about, you, and I know that, you've been having these challenges. I thought I'd just put together a quick proposal that we could chat about. Don't make a big deal about it. Just say, look, I was thinking about it. I put it together. Let's, you have some time next Tuesday for us to have a quick chat so I can kind of fill you in on what I'm thinking. And, that's to me, that's just great customer service. We don't sell, we provide solutions, right?
Right. No, that's a great way of looking at it. Actually, this is it's not sales. This is really helping the customer appreciate another way technology can help them run their business more productively and more securely. Well, that leaves us with time for just one more story this week on the 5 Minute Roundup. You may have seen this. This has been a little bit. It's gotten a little coverage elsewhere in the media. And Eric, it's really never too early in life to discover the joys of work from home computing. Working in a noisy space that's maybe not designed for work. The backaches that come from being in an uncomfortable chair and so on. You don't have to wait until you're all grown up to begin experiencing that, which is why FisherPrice, the children's toy maker, has introduced My Home Office, a playset featuring a fake laptop, headset, latte cup, pretend phone, and 4 apps that attach to the computer screen to work. So if your kids want to be just like mom and dad, sitting around the kitchen table, trying to get something done, but not actually getting anything done, now they can play right along with My Home Office.
Yes, yes. I wish this hell upon my offspring. Let me get you prepped for it now, young one.
I was talking about this actually just a little while ago with my colleague Matt Whitlock from ChannelPro, who has school-aged kids, and he said, "Who needs a playset? My kids have been doing remote learning for the last year, basically. They're already sitting in front of a laptop with a headset and so on. They don't
Right.
actually need toys to do that."
Nice. Now, if we could just teach them how to run our schedules for us, that would be something.
Now you're talking. All right. Well, that is all the time we've got this week on the 5 Minute Roundup, folks. Thank you so much for joining us. If you like the show, you want to maybe watch some episodes you missed out on before, you want to know about the new episodes when they become available, best thing to do is go to the Channel Pro channel on YouTube and become a subscriber. If you click that little bell icon, you're going to get notified every time a new episode becomes available. Want to read more about Datto buying Bitdam? You want to get great business growth advice for your company on a daily basis? Go to channelpronetwork.com every day, because we have got great new content for you about a wide variety of topics there every day. To learn more about Eric and the work he does with his clients, please visit ericsimpson.com. That is ERICK Simpson.com. Once again, thank you very much for joining us. We're going to be back again next week with another episode for you. Until then, folks, please enjoy the rest of your week. Eric and I are enjoying the rest of your week already.
Already.